Hey, it's Dave from Bullpen Cycles, and it's time for another shop tour. I don't know if any of that GoPro Max footage is gonna work out. So let's start at one corner and go through the next. I'm using a GoPro Max camera. It's one of those 360-degree views. It's because there's so much crap in here. There's no room to walk. So let's try this. So let's start at one corner and go through the next. This is a Bultaco, and I've been screwing it up. I always say Fonterra. It's not. As I break stuff, it's a Frontera, not a Fontana, not a Fonterra, a Frontera. And that's like a word I never even use. So this came from Meekum. It runs and drives fine. It doesn't have a light kit, which is what it needs. Some years had Preston Petty, and that's what we're gonna put on it. Here's my topper. That's about ready to go. As soon as I put it back together, it's running. 69 or 70, I think it's 70 Matador. The Osa Pioneer from hell. A Persang. That's a 200 Persang. All that stuff there, those are, well, most of that is new old stock Hercules Wankel parts. Behind the Fonterra, I did it again, Frontera. More Hercules Wankel parts. Italian Husqvarna tools. Up there, now that's a Mazda display piece, but in those tubs, Sachs rotary Wankel and snowmobile parts, followed by used. Most of them are Sachs. There's a couple of Curtis Wrights in there. Those are snowmobile engines. And that is a pile of Cannondale parts. More new old stock Hercules parts. A brand new classified kit to turn your Harley Davidson Sportster Evo 883 1200 87 to 93 into a Vincent lookalike. Our new old stock Cannondale that we are restoring. Our gold medal Frontera that I'm going to try to kickstart when my leg gets on the mend. You've seen us do a video on this. Buick V8 powered home built chopper from the 70s, built by Don Fruth. Don Fruth also built this Moto Guzzi alligator style chopper. This was his wife's motorcycle, and this was the bike that Don rode when they rode together on separate bikes. This Greaves, which is getting closer to running, followed by my 360 Persang that tore my meniscus. This Benelli is ready to go. We're gonna ride this on an upcoming video. Benelli 250 4-cylinder. That's why they call it a 254. Now look, the engine is a stressed member. It's not a cradle frame. Listen to the rain outside. Bultaco El Tigre. That's the dual sport version of the Matrella Mark II. Next to it is a Matrella Mark I, which you can tell because it does not have an enclosed chain guard. This would have been a 200cc 4-speed, while the Mark II is a 250cc 5-speed. Next to it is a Matador Mark II, covered under a factory Bultaco motocross cover. Race bike cover is a Matrella GTS 250cc 6-speed, 250 Persang, a pair of Bultaco streakers, 75cc and 125cc. The first Persang, the Bultaco Matisse Model 11, Rickman frame copy, but it's not nickel plated. Next to it's a 200cc Sherpa S and a blue Persang. Those were painted that way to commemorate Jim Pomeroy winning over in Europe. Next to that is a Derby Senda Bultaco Astro Edition, a 50cc super motard. And the red and white one is a 360 Bultaco El Montadero. The black and white and the black and white neck, those are both Bultaco El Bandidos. The one with metal fenders is a 360, and the one behind it is a 350. Followed by a 51 Indian Roadmaster. This is another Mark II Matador, an unrestored one. Next to that is a 55 Indian Trailblazer, which I've been working on a long time. This is after the American Indian Company in Springfield closed, and they started importing bikes from England with the Indian nameplate. It's actually a Royal Enfield. I think it's a Meteor or a Super Meteor. And my Riehu, which we're gonna follow up. It's been almost 1 year since I bought this. I got to ride it one time. I've not been able to title it here in Florida. And we're gonna do a video on that and other things that you should know when you buy niche brands, Amazon brands, Chinese brands, and orphan brand motorcycles. So stay tuned for that video. There's going to be some information you'll need to know. These Hercules, and there's one missing, that represents one of every color, every made, and those are brand new, unsold leftovers from Sam Costanzo's Hercules Wenkel Museum. 2 Triumph TR5Ts, 500cc twin trophy trail. We talked about those. 500cc Moto Marini. It's covered because I was working on brakes. We got our Norton rotary fixed. Seat's not closed. Ended up using a starter solenoid from a Yamaha Virago 750. Because of course, the brand new Lucas unit failed. I did get a refund from Andover Norton though, so that's good. One of my favorite bikes in here is still this 1966 Montesa Scorpion. That, in my mind, while it's not the first two-stroke dual sport, you look at that, you squint your eyes, and you see a DT 250 next to an MV Agusta CSTL Turismo. That blue BSA is a 500cc Royal Star next to I think that's a 6T, a 6T model, 6T, not 60, Triumph Thunderbird with the bathtub. You saw when I got that. Next to a 58 Ariel Red Hunter. Ariel's known for that bike. The Red Hunter, 500cc single. That is the same year, 1958, as this Ariel Square 4. So they would make a nice pair. Greaves Griffin MX, Gas street titled EC 250 from the Spanish factory long before KTM bought them. A Montesa 414. You saw me buy this in Orlando. This is the very last of Montesa's motocross bikes. From then on, they built trials only. My Royal Enfield Mark II Series Interceptor. 57 Zundap Super Sabre. Street titled Cannondale. E440. Over there is a 75 Norton Commando. That's the only year with electric start. Next to the Osa Wildfire, we did a video on that. I'll put a link to some of these videos in the description. We never did a video on this ugly thing, and it's so ugly and interesting at the same time, I probably should. This is a 1996 CZ. Oh, is it an ES 180 or something? Basically, they took the old 175cc Jawa motor, dressed it up in this pig, put plastic over it, covered up, tried to make it look modern, and it's a POS. But it's brand new. Look at those goofy turn signals. I had those as cab lights on my Chevy Camper. BSA Hornet, factory race bike. Another Zundap Super Sabre. My flat tracker. Now this is trick, because Yamaha MX400 was never a twin shock bike, but this was converted to twin shock, first for desert racing, and then I lowered it and changed the wheels for flat tracking. It really rips. Now there we have that maroon and black 68 FLH. The black one next to it is a 69 FLH. Last year, before they got bought out by AMF. And that goofy spring that you see way off to the end, that's the prototype frame for Excelsior Henderson. Before they even had their own engine, they developed a frame. And that prototype over there is got a torsion bar set up on it, which never went into production. You've seen my 66 FLH, this Trident from Mecum. First year with the ray gun mufflers. This is really nice. You have to light it up one day. This is not an Astro. It's a Trackmaster. Trackmaster with an El Bandido 360 motor in it. This is what you would make before they started building production Astros with the quick change rear. This does have a quick change rear, and it's a big bore 2-stroke piston port, not like the late Astros. Probably the neatest thing in here, well, unless you're into Winkles and you want a Van Veen, the neatest thing in here I think would be this XR 750 TT, hand built by Hall of Fame racer George Roeder Sr. That's him, number 94 in the middle. And over here, that's George Jr. cutting it left. This is the pre-production MX250 Harley Davidson. It's a prototype. They maybe made 90 or so of them. You can tell because it's got front forks in the back. Hey, if that kind of suspension works on the front, maybe it'll work on the back too. Blue Owry grips, which I don't want to get all stained with my greasy hands. That was restored by Don Miller of Metro Racing. You've seen my Katana. This is the 1000cc model. The following year would be an 1100, and then I think that's it. 2 years only. This one has 746 miles on it, and I will get it going some point. Followed by my one of 2 Van Veens. This is a twin rotor, Wankel powered. It's an NSU car motor, hand built Van Veen, made in Holland. They made 38 of them. This one was owned by Malcolm Forbes. It's fairly well sorted, almost ready to fire. And that's from his touring club, his motorcycle touring club, the Capitalist Tools. This Battle of the Legends bike was Gary Nixon's. That's his number 9. That's his tech inspection. This is the actual bike from the Battle of the Legends. Oh, I think 94 and 95 they ran this color. They ran 4 or 5 different models for about 6 years. They come up with a new model every year or so. I think in this year they raced, he came second. In the final year, he was first. But that's the year that, was it Roger Riemann died? So they stopped the race. A Westlake Big Bore Rickman single. I got that bike. I got to tell you a story about that bike. That bike came to me by way of an auction in Iowa on an Alaska title. And Florida wouldn't accept the documentation from the auctioneer, even though the auctioneer was fully licensed. They wanted me to get a bill of sale from the owner who lived in Alaska. How was I going to do that? And why can't the auction reseller issue a bill of sale so that I can transfer the title? Turns out the next day, that guy walks here in the shop. He's got a house in Lake Mary. He's an Alaskan snowbird. Not a joke. For real. Yeah. So we did the deed. Got that. It's actually got a street title on it if you ever want to put a lighting kit on it. Greaves TFS. And I seem to have misplaced the title on that one, so I'm looking for it. My 69 Bonneville out for paint work. 68 Sprint. My Cove Rally, which we have not fired up yet. And this thing, this is the little Cove, the MX250. Yeah, I just got a charging plug shoved in there, but we're gonna have to run that one through its paces coming up. So that is a quick tour of the shop. Oh yeah, you got a library back there, and I guess I should show some signs. That's Jimmy Sutter on my GTR, which is in the other building. Yeah, oh, I gotta show you the other building. What a sicko. And 3A, that's Tom Majeski on another race bike in my other building. I gotta show you my other building. Let's see what signs we have here. Anything interesting? Our shop mascot, which I think at one time we had a name, but I forgot. This is a picture of my GTR. It's in the other building. This is a Westlake 750 twin. It is not a Triumph motor. GTR, Gordon, Ted Hubbard, and Roger, I forget who, they wanted to build a bike to compete with the XR 750 for flat tracking out of England. It had this crummy Bewley 2-speed transmission in it, which mine no longer has. Randy Texter. That's Gary Nixon doing a wheelie on a Triumph Cub. That came out of a local Triumph shop. I got it from Billy Texter when Cycle Goodies closed. That's an authentic Moto Marini service sign, came from West Cycle Shack. That poster over there, that is from the Battle of the Legends. The race where that bike came from. I got a whole bunch of more signs and stuff, but I can't get to the wall to hang them. So someday they'll go up. Need to make room here. Don't know how I'm going to do that. All right, I've gone through most of my Bultaco parts. I got the old inventory shoved there, categorized, inventoried, ready to sell. I'm probably going to sell them bulk to whoever the new owner is going to be. And I kept some stuff, not a whole lot. Used motors, some new old stock stuff, pistons. And I got enough in here to keep me entertained. Did I miss anything? Probably. Let me show you this poster. It's in our place of honor, the bathroom. This is an old Bultaco specifications poster from, I think it was Dan's Cycle in Smoketown near State College. Here's the different models going up to the model 50. Here's a 51, 61, 68. That's probably the newest. 68 was a 5-speed Persang. A lot of these are specs for the old 4-speeds. These are some of our repop shirts that we do. Oh, that's is that a Guy Zerby shirt? Oh, no. Ed Shawley. That's an old shop. Piston poppers. Oh yeah, Howell's Triumph. Jimmy Howell's not with us anymore. Fritz's, that was a BSA shop in Reading. Is that, oh, that's from Gary Nixon's estate sale. That's the Allentown Suzuki Mako Montesa and Link Cycle Service. We're ready to fire up this Norton and fire up that Benelli. We'll take them for a ride, hear what they sound like on one of the upcoming videos. I'm gonna get some help and we're gonna fire up that 370 Frontera, that 370 Persang, and hopefully give that big bore Greaves a go. So hit like, follow, subscribe, whatever you got to do, and thanks for watching.